Hey everybody, I got a message from someone on Facebook, on one of my Facebook groups, to say that when are you going to do your tuber challenge? You've been nominated, what's going on? So I thought I'd do a video for it, but I can't. I've been looking around YouTube and I can't find anyone that's actually nominated me, so I don't know if I've been nominated or not. Or there also seems to be a freshwater version and a saltwater version, so I'm assuming I've been nominated for the freshwater version. But I'll do both. If no one's nominated me, I apologise. And if you have and I can't find your video, I also apologise. But let me know if it was you. Put it in the comments down below and we'll let you know. So I've had a look and there looks to be a set of 10 questions, so I'll run through them. I'll start with the freshwater one because I assume that's what I've been asked for. And number one is, how did you get into fish keeping? The answer is I don't really know. I didn't have a fish tank as a kid. My granddad had a goldfish in a bowl. I was quite obsessed with it. It lived for years and years and years, no filter, none of that, filled straight out the tap every few weeks. I got a fish tank a few years ago, got to be 6 or 7 years ago, only a small one, maybe 40 litres, something like that. And then for a birthday, my wife bought me a 350 litre tank, and that's when I got my first discus. That was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, possibly even longer, I'm not sure. And that's when I got obsessive, got proper into it. So I got my first discus from a local fish shop and they were terrible. They were stunted, bad shape, bad everything, big price. Joined all the communities online, asked for loads of help, got to know some of the good guys, some local breeders, and got into it that way. And that's basically how I got into fish keeping in general. Now got to the point where I've got my big tank next door, even a saltwater tank here, another tank in another room, about 10 tanks downstairs in the fish room. Yeah, slightly obsessive, some would say. So number two, what is your favourite fish? Discus. I go as far as to say my favourite strain of discus is probably one of the Turks, whether it's a blue Turk or a red Turk. I just like that pattern. I like the colours. But yes, in general, they are definitely my favourite fish. Definitely my favourite saltwater fish, freshwater fish. I might have a rival in a saltwater, but I don't know yet. I've not been keeping them long enough. What is my least favourite fish? Well, it's a Geophagus surmanensis. This one in particular, I shall put a video of it around about here somewhere. It is a complete beep. It's my least favourite specific fish rather than breed of fish. I got 3 of them at the same time, put them in with my discus in my display tank. They were fine, they didn't dig up too much, but 2 of them paired off and had fry, and the third one, I think, was the most jealous fish in the universe and went on a killing spree. Killed all the fry, killed the parents. Once he finished them off, he started on the discus. He then moved them into, I had a big cichlid tank, or bigger aggressive fish, with a Texas cichlid and a few others, and he seemed to be okay in there for a while, but I lost the Texas. It was an old fish anyway. I was only looking after it for someone else who was shutting down a tank, and then it went back to its old ways, and it's now in a tiny little tank on its own because I've got nowhere else to put it and I can't find anyone else that wants it. So if it's still here, if you want this fish, you can have it. It's all yours. I don't care anymore. It's doing my head in. He attacks me, he attacks other fish. He's alright if he's got bigger fish in a tank, but he went crazy digging everything up as well when he was the last one left, once out of the 3. So he is my least favourite fish. I mean, I've got others. I don't really like these fish, but that one takes the biscuit. What filter are you using? So the answer to that one is loads of different types. So in my display tank, I run a Fluval FX5 and an overhead sump type arrangement. Downstairs is mostly sponge filters in each individual tanks, and I usually rely on water changes for the water quality downstairs in the fish room. There's an inbuilt filter in this one, which is like an inbuilt sump type thing. Same in one of my other tanks has got the hidden bit at the back with the various bits of media in there. So all kinds. I don't think one's better than the other. I like the Fluval purely because it's got a good capacity in it and the flow rate's good. I like the sponges because they're simple, they're cheap, and they're really good. One thing I've noticed between freshwater and saltwater is the different approaches to filtration. It took a while to get my head around that. So, for instance, sponge filters in freshwater, brilliant. Everybody seems to love them. They do a great job, but they seem to be despised in the saltwater community. It took me a while to figure out why, but again, I don't want to go on another rant about Facebook groups and things like that, but I would ask questions about, so what's the problem with saltwater, with sponges in saltwater? And everyone would just say, don't do it, no, don't do it. Well, okay, why? No, just don't do it. Alright, I won't, but why, out of interest? No, you just don't do it in saltwater. No explanation whatsoever. It took weeks for me to get to the bottom of it. It was because the perception was that sponges would trap detritus, which would then start to rot, and then that would spike on your nitrates. And nitrates are the devil in saltwater. Well, okay, well, nitrates aren't brilliant in freshwater. You don't want them too high either. And they only trap detritus if you never rinse them. So, I don't know. I'm too new in saltwater to start making arguments about the norm. But anyway, so filters, all kinds. I've even tried Hamburg mats and various overhead sumps and do-it-yourself sumps. I did run a sump system on my fish room for a long time. I liked that, but it just wasn't right for what I want to do now. But yes, as long as you have a filter, I guess that's the way to go. What lighting are you using? Again, all sorts. So this one at the moment, it's running a little LED 20 quid thing off eBay that came with the tank. It's not suitable. I will be upgrading that at some point to a proper one. And my display tanks, I use T5s. The fish room, I use those LED strips you get off eBay wrapped around a PVC tube. All sorts. Depends what you want to do. I use the T5s in the main tank purely because the tank came with a hood that had T5 fittings. And the T5 bulbs that I've got in there are good for growing plants, and I want that to be a planted tank at the minute, so that does well. In the fish room, I just want to be able to see the fish. I'm not that bothered about plants. So it's horses for courses, as they say. Favourite type of tank setup? I'm not really sure what that means, but I would have to say my favourite type of tank setup is everything automated as much as possible. So it's harder to do in my display tanks in the living room because I've not got loads of plumbing that I can just run straight to the tank and in and out. But I like automatic water changes, I like automatic feeders. I like everything to be as automatic as possible. I like, you'll see a video coming out of mine soon about what I've done with one of the bigger tanks downstairs that was encrusted with algae that you could hardly see in. So I put in a load of bristle noses and they cleaned that up, no bother. So I like low maintenance, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that's my favourite type of tank setup, where you don't have to be constantly battling something. I like a good balance. So that's what I aim for in most of my tanks. What is your dream tank? I spoke about this a little bit before, and if there's any builders slash aquarium experts slash expert DIYers, then do get in touch. But for my 40th birthday next year, that's what I'm getting, is my dream tank, and I'm kind of limited to what I can get by the house I live in. So I want it to be in the living room, but I'm upstairs, the living room. So I'm kind of limited to a 5 foot by 18 inches by 2 foot, 5 by 2 by 18. Purely because that's as big as I can get up the stairs. There's no access to the back garden really, so I can't even get a crane round there to lift it up through the patio doors that go into the living room. Which is great. I mean, I can get a really nice tank for that size. It will be a custom job, it will be built to my specifications and everything, but at the end of the day, it's 5 foot tank. They're not exactly special. What I wanted to do was where my kitchen is, I've kind of got hallway and then it goes into the kitchen, and the kitchen doubles back here, and I wanted to have this bit of wall between the hallway and the kitchen as a fish tank, so kind of floor to ceiling fish tank you could see through, all that kind of stuff. It would have been ace, but no one's been willing to do it. Funnily enough, fire risk is always the reason that I'm given in the end. I'm thinking, how can thousands of litres of water be a fire risk? But anyway, if anybody thinks of a better way that they can achieve that and is willing to come to Sheffield, come on down. I've got money burning a hole in my pocket ready to do it. Yeah, talk to me about that. So that's my dream tank, but I'm going to probably have to settle for something a bit less, but it'll still be good. Number 8. What food do you use? If you'd asked me this question about 6 months ago, I would have said beef heart. That's the only food I really use. Pardon me. I do have flakes and pellets and things like that I've always used as a bit of a supplement, but I've always made my own beef heart mix for the discus. But I've recently switched that to New Era discus pellets. Apology for the jump cuts while I have a coughing fit. Yeah, so I've recently switched to New Era discus pellets purely because the beef heart had me once every month at most spending an entire day making beef heart, preparing the ingredients, freezing it, cleaning all the equipment needed to make it, ordering new equipment, blah blah. And it was quite an endeavour. It's good because you know what's going in the food, and that's great. A hell of a lot cheaper than buying the same sort of quality beef heart from good providers. But I found that these New Era discus pellets were kind of the best balance that I could find. Reasonably cheap. Well, they're not cheap, but reasonably cheap. Seem to be good. Lots of good reports from friends in the hobby that are using them, and the fish love them, so I can't complain about that. So what is your dream fish to keep? I should probably have thought about these a bit more before I decided to do this video. I don't know, I've always quite liked arowana. Again, something big. I would want something impressive. It would be probably a tank of fish rather than one specific fish. But I've always liked Oscars, just never got around to wanting to keep them. Big cichlids, essentially. I like most of them. But yeah, arowana probably, that'd be a good one, or stingrays maybe. I don't know if I could dedicate that size of tank to just that fish to keep it happy. Number 10, nominate 3 other people to participate. So I'll go ahead and nominate Michael's Fish Room, Richie's Fishies, and Steenfott Aquatics, or Aquariums Aquatics? Not sure. I'll just double check that. But while I'm doing that, I'll think about what my saltwater version of that would be, which will be quite comical since I don't really know that much about saltwater. Yeah, aquatics. Anyway, so the saltwater version of that is fish only tank or reef. Well, the answer is quite simple. Reef. I don't know why I'm pointing that. There's not an actual reef in there yet, but one day there will be. As I find out more, one day I might want to have both, because there might be certain fish I want to keep that I can't keep in a reef tank. But the only reason I got this was to get corals. I'm interested in corals. That's what I wanted to get. Number 2, soft or hard corals. Not really sure. I know I like the things like frog spawn, and I like things with movements. So LPS corals seem to be my favourites. But again, I'm too new at this. I don't know enough about everything to know what my favourite ones are yet. So number 3, what is my favourite coral? Oof, I just don't know yet. My favourite fish in saltwater, not sure. Again, it's a difficult one. At the moment, we've only got clownfishes. There's a firefish in there somewhere, but I haven't seen him for about 3 days. Well, I have actually. He pops out every now and again. But anyway, so far my favourite fish is things like tangs, triggers, things that I can't have in a tank this size probably. I don't know. I mean, this tank's only, I think it's 30 inches that way, and 22 inches that way. So some kind of trigger or tang would be my favourite fish, but I don't know what yet. I'm really enjoying the clownfishes. I mean, they're really quite interactive. They'll kind of follow me around, and every time if I hold up any kind of tub, they're straight to the front going, oh, what you got, what you got? Thinking it's food. That's quite good. Number 5 is my least favourite coral. Don't have any corals yet. Well, I've got a couple of frags in there, but I don't have a least favourite yet because I've not tried any to start disliking them. I've seen some where I've been in the fish shop and looked at the frag tank or the coral display and gone, alright, why is that thing there 80 quid? It just looks like a brown bit of mush. So whatever that brown mushy one was, that one. My least favourite fish, again, I don't know if I've got a least favourite as such, purely because I don't have enough experience of them all, but probably the kind of is it green chromis, your kind of bog standard fish. It looks to me, it looks like, and to me saltwater's all about the big colourful active wow fish. If I want a bog standard fish, I can do that quite easily in tropical for a lot less hassle. Maybe that's unfair, but I don't know. Homemade or commercial food. I like my homemade food, but for the same reasons as freshwater, probably I'm going to say commercial food, purely because of ease of getting it. Number 8, LEDs, T5s or MH, metal halide probably. I've been looking at lighting because obviously I want to get this lighting sorted for when I get corals. My head's at LED at the minute. I like the thought of LEDs, but I'm seeing a few arguments for T5s. Most people are straying away from metal halides, so for me it's between LEDs and T5s at the minute. I like gadgets as well, so a lot of the LED systems seem to come with controls and programmable sections and apps and things like that, so that's kind of swaying me, even though T5s I could probably get a lot cheaper. I could probably repurpose a unit I've got somewhere already. So I don't know, I'm thinking LEDs. I'm thinking Christmas is coming up. I might use some of my Christmas funds to get a decent light system. What would be my dream tank? See my freshwater answer. I've said that would be my dream tank. I'm not quite convinced it wouldn't be a discus tank, or it might be a saltwater tank. And then nominate 3 other channels to take place in the Aquarium Tuber challenge. I'll stick with my 3 original ones. We'll keep the freshwater thing going. Yeah, so that's it. I'm done. I've answered all my questions, even though I might not have been asked to do them, or if I have, I can't find it. I hope that was interesting. If you've got any questions, or if you said you're an idiot, you haven't answered that question properly, by all means let me know. I shall try and get back to you. Little announcement, I keep saying my next video is going to be the quarantining video. If I ever get round to it and my phone decides to play ball, because it won't let me get the videos off the card at the minute for some reason, I shall do that. But there might be another one in between that will run some kind of competition for 150 subscribers. I can't believe there's 150 people out there that like listening to this nonsense. There probably aren't, but you never know. If I get to 150, I'll run a little competition, give something away, Amazon vouchers or something like that, and run some kind of similar competition, similar kind of thing to this, where it'll be get you guys to post a small video and answer a bunch of questions, and then see if we can get something going. But for now, I'll let you know about that later, but for now I'll close off here and say thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. See you later.